Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Get 50 Sales Using Facebook with Maps Coach Dina Watson. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar control panel. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at maps@kw.com. That's all from me. Dina, take it away.
Awesome, thank you so much. Welcome to this webinar, and we are going to talk about a couple things. One is how to build your brand and build your empire online, mainly through the channels of social media. And then we're also going to talk about how you go forward and put some of the things that you learned today in action. My goal for today is that you take away at least one thing from this free part of our program to put into your business over the next few weeks. And let's face it, over the next few weeks, you guys, it's going to be imperative that we dig in and really, really shine online with the ability that we have to still use our computers and our digital tools to keep our business going in this time of uncertainty. So make no mistake about it, whatever you do over the next 30 days is going to make your business what it is for the rest of this year. So my goal for you today and what I hope for you is that when you leave this program, this free part of the program, that you have at least one thing that you can use over the next few weeks while you guys have a little more time at home or a little more time online to be able to reshape and redo your social media presence. As he said, if you have questions, I will take them and answer them at the end, but please put them in the questions box as they come up, and I will leave about 5 or 10 minutes at the end to get those answered. Let's dig in. So here's a little bit about me. I am a mega agent. I have a top producing team in my marketplace. In my market center, we are number 2. The other team above us does about triple the business we do. And how, in that same sense, we are number 1 when it comes to the social media space here. Platinum Award producer with KW, which just means that our team sells over 100 units a year. My husband is a Green Beret in the U.S. Army, still active duty, so I'm the wife of a soldier. I'm licensed in 3 different states, 1 active and 2 inactive. We have had to start our business over and over and over again in the last 8 to 9 years. And the reason that I'm accredited enough to talk to you guys about this topic is because I've been able to restart my business in 3 different states, all in different time zones, all in the last actually about 7 years because of social media and the things that I teach in the full program of this course. The first year I landed where I currently sit today, I sold 50 homes only using Facebook and didn't spend a penny. All of that within 8 months of being in a brand new market where I didn't know anybody. Okay, so this is not a program about hypotheticals. This is about the tactical things that you can do to brand yourself as the expert in your market, even if you're a newer agent. I am also proudly a Maps Mastery Coach, which means that I coach agents one-on-one across the country for Maps and KWRI. I'm a boy mom. I have almost a 3-year-old son who is crazy and keeps me on my toes, and I love everything about dogs, and I'm not really feeling it with cats. That's neither here nor there. In this program and today, we are going to talk about some social media best practices. So I want to be very clear in something. What you're going to learn today is a slice of the program that is 8 weeks long that I teach through Maps Group Coaching. So I've taken what I think are some of the best actual practical things you can learn and do in a moment and put them in this webinar. There is something beyond this though, and it is an 8-week program, which I'm going to talk about at the end, that goes in depth with a lot of these things. But during the course of this and some of what we're going to learn today, I want to make sure that you learn some best practices on things you can do while building your brand, specifically on social media. And I want to give you some information on the best times to post on social media and what to post in the first place. For any of you who have any questions, there are 2 screenshots on your screen right now, and you will get this as a recording. So don't worry, if you're driving, you will get this a little bit later. The reason I've put these screenshots on here is because this is what it looks like on my Facebook page right now, minus I just changed the photo. If you need something, if you have a question, if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, please reach out to me, and I will be happy to help you. Step 1, we're going to talk about branding and what exactly that means Branding is really important. It's the promotion of a particular product by means of advertising. That's the definition. But what does it mean to you? When you think of different brands, what do you think about? What are the first few that come to mind? Write them down, pop them in the questions box. This can be interactive. What are some of the brands that come to mind when you personally think about branding? Branding is also a marketing practice that takes a company's name, a symbol, or a logo, as you guys might know it, and is designed that makes the company identifiable above everyone else. So some people ask the question, why are you talking about this? Why does this matter? I want to know how to sell 50 homes a year. Well, here's the thing. Unless someone knows how to find you, or unless you are synonymous with real estate in your area, that's not exactly the outcome you're going to get. So how do you change that? You create a brand and you create an identity, and then you push that identity out to the people you wish to sell real estate to. And over time, people will start to notice that you are the go-to person in your marketplace. Branding, by definition, is the difference between Q-tips and cotton swabs. When is the last time you needed a cotton swab and you asked for a cotton swab? You don't. We all ask for Q-tips. Q-tip is a brand. Same thing, Kleenex or facial tissue. Can I have a Kleenex? Can I have a facial tissue? You don't ever ask really for a facial tissue. You say, I want a Kleenex. Same thing, Coke, Pepsi, or soda. They are all a variation of sodas, but Coke and Pepsi are a brand. By definition, people will seek out the brand that they identify the most with, the one they remember the most. And here's the other fun fact. In any industry, there are usually no more than 3 instantaneous and predominant brands in a marketplace that people can remember. Now, there are more brands than that, but when things come to mind, when you're thinking about facial tissues, for example, other than Kleenex, what are the others that are available for you? Brand name ones. Same thing with Q-tips. Aside from Q-tips, what other cotton swab brand-wise are available? When you think about fast food, what are the first few? There are usually 3 specific brands that come to mind for any one person, and psychologically, it's hard for the human brain to remember more than that. So our goal maybe isn't to get you to number 1 here. Our goal here is for you to create a brand that's so strong that you make it into the top 3. So when people think of real estate, you are one of the number 1, 2, or 3 that they think about and they can choose from. Same thing in our everyday life. We tell people who ask us questions, I don't know, go Google it. Do you guys really want them to Google it? Like, you want them to actually get on the computer, pull up Google, and put it in that Google search bar? Or do you simply mean, I want you to figure it out? These are all brands, and this is kind of what I'm leaning towards. In order for you to be able to sell a massive amount of real estate on social media, you have to have a very strong brand, or a whole lot of hustle, or a combination of both. So we're going to make sure that you know what are the components of a great brand. So as I talk about these things, I want you to ask yourself if you have these or not. And if you don't, good news is we have a few weeks coming up that a lot of us are going to spend a lot less time doing things that we normally do, meaning we might have more time for this, which is a really cool concept. The components of a great brand, ask yourself if you have these: an identifiable logo. Can people tell that that's yours? Your logo, does it have identifiable colors? So when people see your colors, do they think about you? Next one, and this is really important. Does your brand have a clear brand promise? What does your real estate company, whether it's just you right now or whether you have a full team, what are you promising to the public? Does the public know that? Have you defined what your target market is? Now, there's a few reasons this is important. One is because on Facebook, everything that you do, you will be determining who your target audience is, and your brand message or your marketing message should target those types of people who do those types of things. Now, Facebook about a year ago made some pretty decent changes, maybe not a year ago now, maybe actually about 9 months ago, but a little while ago, Facebook made some pretty drastic changes to how we as real estate agents can market to people. There used to be the ability for us to go down to a 1 mile radius to market homes or businesses or venues or what have you. And now, if you're a real estate advertisement, you cannot do that. It's no less than 15 miles, and you cannot any longer, if you identify yourself as a housing ad, choose whether you're marketing to females, males, or whatever age group they may be in. This is a violation that Facebook determines could violate fair housing, and now they don't let you do that. So how do you get around it? These are all things that we'll go really far in depth in the full program, but what I will tell you right now is if your marketing message is heard by a market that you are actually wanting to speak to, and the way you are speaking to them is the way they want to hear things, they will feel like you are in alignment. They will feel like your message is in alignment with who they are as a person, and they will most likely want to reach out to you. Keep in mind, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. They might not know you, and yet if you're speaking their language, they will like you. And if you talk about things that mean something to them, they will trust you. So these are all reasons why having a target market is definitely very important, because if you know who you're talking to, you can reach them in a way that no one else can. Next, a great brand has design consistency. And what does that mean? It means that your email signature matches your signs. It means that your signs match your logo on Facebook. It means that your logo on Facebook and your colors are the same on your business card. And all of those are the same as what you mail or email out to everyone. Ask yourself, do you have that right now? And here's the thing, everyone. There's no one who starts with 100% of this. Nobody. And if they are at 100%, they might have just checked the box. They might not be honed in on what this all actually means. So do not feel bad if you don't have all these things. It's okay. We're asking these questions to make sure that you identify the things you might be missing the boat on to help get to that 50 sales in 50 weeks mark that we're talking about here. Next, the component of a great brand, and something that everyone wants to see on social media, is the result of a strategy that you created on how to reach them. If you're at KW and you are not utilizing command Facebook advertising, this is so big. This is such a big deal, and it's so inexpensive right now that the less amount of money for the biggest result you can possibly get in a time of economical uncertainty is the absolute route you take. So what is your Facebook what is your Facebook command strategy around hitting your target market right now? If you don't have it, you might want to think about writing it down. Now, I'm going to take a time out for a second from real estate to talk a little bit about colors. And sometimes I lose people here, so if you hop off, I can see you, by the way. Don't hop off. Stick with me for a minute, and this will blow your mind a tiny bit. Colors are very important when it comes to choosing your branding. So I will caveat this. Some market centers want you to adhere to the red, white, black, and gray of Keller Williams. So please defer before you spend any money on anything or before you redo anything that we talk about today. Please make sure that you know the marketing rules of Keller Williams and the marketing rules of your local market centers. For example, Keller Williams right now, it says suggested 30 to 50% red. There are some market centers that require and mandate that. Some of them say follow the Keller Williams rules, meaning suggested, not required. So make sure that you know these things. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about color. In its simplest terms, color are basically how our brains receive and reflect light by different objects around us. Different wavelengths of light get projected as different colors, and each color actually choruses a certain amount of emotions in a person. This is hardwired into our brains. This is something that is not a conscious choice, but certain colors coerce a certain set of emotions within us. So why is that important? Backed by reliable research, a product's color can influence a customer's purchasing decision by anywhere from 60 to 80%. This is why it's called the psychology of color. When you hang up off of this webinar, I want you to go and Google. I actually do want you to Google this. Google the psychology of color and start reading. Make no mistake, a lot of these companies and brands have chosen the colors they did for a reason. And it is mostly in relation to how color exudes a certain set of emotions within a human brain. Now, as you guys know who've taken bold, logic makes you think and emotions make you act. So if you are in an emotional state when you see a certain set of colors, and that requires you to act subconsciously in a certain way, why do you think they spend so much money on their brands and on the colors? It's because it's helping you buy things. For example, we'll go into a couple. Red. Red is a power color. It is also a color of impulse. Ladies, Target. Gentlemen, Target anyone? Target didn't choose the color red on accident. Red is supposed to exude impulse buys. Blue is the preferred color of men. So men prefer the color blue in branding subconsciously to any other color. Green is a color that exudes wealth, and purple is a color that exudes luxury. Gray is a color that creates balance and simplicity and timelessness. Why does anyone think that Apple, let me ask you a question, do any of you here think that Apple cannot make a computer in another color? Or do they choose not to? All Apple computers are a various shade of silver or gray, and that is on purpose. Apple's brand went from red to gray. That is on purpose. You guys, this is a really interesting concept that I really would love for all of you to look into, because if you have yet to make a brand for yourself, and let's just say your target market is women between this age and this age, and I'm not saying you're violating anything. I'm saying that ideally these are the people you want to work with, and yet you choose blue. When blue is the preferred color of men, you may be missing the boat. Same thing the other way around. Let's say that your target market and who you want to work with are men between this age and this age, and that's just your ideal client. And yet your brand is pink. I don't think that's going to work. And those are extreme examples. And yet it's still really important that we know, what are we doing to the person's subconscious emotions when they see our branding? It starts with color. Step 2, in the program, we're going to go really in depth with defining your target audience and the message. In order to be able to sell as many real estate deals as I did on Facebook, I had to know, who am I wanting to sell to? Now, in every webinar, every time I do this, people say, you can't discriminate. I wasn't. I was just very clear, and we talk in this program about getting very clear on who you would prefer your client to be. It does not mean that you won't work with other people. This is a preferential thing. And in order to be really effective to deliver your message on social media, you need to know who you're wanting to talk to. The more you can define and refine and get it really small, who your ideal clientele is, the higher the engagement will be for your posts. So those of you who are making posts on Facebook and you're not getting any type of response, you're doing something wrong, and maybe what you could have an opportunity for is figuring out, who do you want to work with and speak their language. I'll give you an example. There's a young lady who took my course probably about a year ago, and she basically was fighting with herself because she owned a gun store, a firearms store. And she was like, well, I don't want to isolate people who don't want to work with people who like guns. This is a real concern for her. And instead of doing what she could to not isolate people she really didn't even know, she went all in with the people she did. And through the process of this full program, she created a brand for herself, and the brand logo was a target, like a gun target, right? And the name, I believe the name of her brand was On Target Realty. Now, if you are a gun owner and you start seeing somebody marketing to you with a logo that you can identify with because that's your preference, and a name On Target Realty, are you going to be a little bit intrigued? Absolutely you will. Absolutely. And the same thing the other way around. If you can figure out, and I'll ask you this question, who is your target audience? Who are the people that you just get so excited to work with? Who are they? Shout them out. Think about them. Tell your neighbor. And don't tell too many people. You're supposed to be socially distancing yourself. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, tell your neighbor. Talk about it. Write it down. Put it in the questions box. Who do you get the most excitement out of working with? Here's another question. Who are they as a human being? Right? What do they stand for? What are their values? And these are all things you should know. Think about your audience, and here are some starting points for you. What's the age of the person you get most excited to work with? Some people say, and put it in the questions box, some people say, I want to work with empty nesters. Some people really get excited about millennials. Some people want that move up buyer. What's the average range of the person you get the most excited to work with? What are their interests? What are their interests? What do they like to do? Here's another example. There's a lady in my market center. She and I we do a little more business than her, but we do business completely differently. She loves all things equestrian and horses and hunting. I could not get less excited about spending time outside acting like I live in a third world country. I'm not going camping. Make no mistake, if my husband wants me to go camping, we're getting a really large RV with a shower, plumbing, and all kinds of stuff. It's just not my idea of a good time. Now, when we get clients that come our way that's what they love, guess what we do? We send them to her. We're so clear on who we should be working with and who our mission is to help that everybody else isn't that. Now, I'm not saying we turn away the business and give it to her for free. We offer her a referral, but she is going to align with those people way more than we ever could. And here's the other part. They're not going to refer us because we don't know a lot about equestrian and horse property. I'm not upset about saying that. So for her target market might be equestrian buyers, horse farms, land, not mine. And I don't help those people well because I don't understand their needs. Doesn't mean I can't help them. Just means that I'm not the right fit. So the more that you can get specific with the interests of people that you work with, the more excited you'll be to come to work every day and help people because you're helping the people you want. Here's the next one. What's their socioeconomic status? This is another thing to think about. What price point? Now, I know that everyone wants to work in the $1 million brackets. I get it. But maybe that's not where you're most comfortable, and maybe that's not the people you're most comfortable around. That's okay. Doesn't mean you can't work up to that. It just means that your ideal target market might not be that, and that's fine. Last thing, location. What type of their jobs? What type of jobs do these people do? I know agents whose entire business is helping relocation companies in town. That's cool. Good for her. Maybe that's not your idea of a good time. Get really, really clear, you guys, before the end of this webinar, who it is that you're speaking to. Now, I want to take a kind of a sidestep to have a conversation with you that's really honest and real right now. This slide is in every single one of these webinars, but I think today it matters more than it ever has. Hot button issues. We're going to talk for 2 seconds about how you can derail all of your progress by touching on some hot button issues, and you're going to segregate yourself. We're also going to talk about how you could go all in with those, make those your target markets, and actually grow your business exponentially. And we'll talk about how to know when whichever one's right. So I have a degree in politics, so hot button issues are a thing that I'm used to. However, in real estate, hot button issues can include some of the following, and they need to be discussed carefully and neutrally unless you're willing to either go all in with that issue or lose business over it. Here's the thing. If you, like I said, I have a degree in politics. I have a stance. You will never, and I repeat never, on Facebook see what that is. You'll never know. Why? Because I'm not willing to lose the business of the other side of the aisle. I'm not. Some people are. And if you're okay with that, go all in with it. Now, today, with this COVID-19 and the election season, this is really important. Some of you don't realize that every time you charge up your Facebook page and you get people all excited and arguing, that everyone else that's watching that does not agree is unfriending you, they're writing you off, and they will never do business with you. Never. Now, I don't know about you, but Republicans and Democrats with the $190,000 house are both paying you the same amount of money. So if you're willing to lose the side that you don't agree with, then keep doing what you're doing. If you're not, tone it down. Now, I'm not saying you hide your beliefs. What I am saying is you don't make them a fiery, brimstone, argumental conversation, because that's where you lose people. Next hot button issue that's a big deal for most people that they will walk away from a relationship with you over is religion. Either shaming religion, going all in with certain types of religion and saying that they are a certain way or aren't a certain way. That is one of those other things that people will walk away from business with you over. The next four are not as large as the first two, but they're still a thing to consider. Talking about people's sexual orientation is a hot button issue, should be avoided unless you're willing to go all in with it and make it your niche. Human welfare topics like abortion. COVID-19 is a human welfare topic. For all of you right now who are so obsessed with talking about how this is either right or wrong or overdone or underdone, you're making people really angry. You're making them mad. And what they're doing is they're leaving you. So in order for you guys to be able to be in a position to sell 50 homes on social media, one of the most important things you need to understand is what you're doing when you're doing these things and posting these things to the people who don't agree with you. They're never going to call you. They're never going to write you. And to be quite frank with you, they're probably writing you off and telling all of their friends the same thing. So one of the important things that I think is imperative is that you stay socially and emotionally neutral for 99% of everything you post. Some people won't agree with me, and yet that's okay. You can all have your opinions. I think that the reason I've been so successful on social media is because I don't polarize anyone. I don't make anyone feel like they can't approach me. I don't make anyone feel like I don't agree with them. Now, I don't agree with a lot of things, but I also don't write about it. I tell my friends, I talk to my husband, I write about it and I type it all out and I'm hacking my keyboard so angry and then I delete it. It's like my mom used to say, when you're broke and you still want to go shopping, go shopping. Put all the things in your cart and then leave your cart in the store. You still went shopping, you just didn't buy it. I still type that stuff out, I just don't post it. Okay, same thing. Next thing, gun control and feminism, or sexism, if you want to call it that. Those are all things that can be considered hot button. Now, what is a micro niche? Some people will call it a niche. I call it a niche. I think it's because I'm from the South. A micro niche is all of those same topics, but they become everything to you. So you can either make it a hot button where you're polarizing people, or kind of like the girl with the gun store. She decided, I'm okay. I want to work with people who are like me, who know me very well, and so I'm going to go all in with those people. I'm going to make my brand align with them. I'm going to make my message align with them. I'm even going to teach home defense seminars. Instead of teaching home buyer seminars, because she chose to go all in with her niche, which was gun owners, she's now teaching home defense seminars. This is how honed in she is, okay? Stay away if you're not willing to make those your people and lose everyone else. Stay away from these topics, or keep yourself as publicly neutral as you possibly can. Next thing, in order for you to be able to sell all this real estate on social media, you're going to have to define what your message is. Here are some ideas. Talk about your beliefs and your core values. What are the things that you as a human being stand for? Avoid some old school sales tactics and provide value. Now, some people will say, well, I post all my listings. That is not value, you guys. Not at all. No one cares anymore that you list a house. They can look that up on realtor.com or Zillow. That is no longer value. So what's valuable? In the full program, we'll go into all these different topics, but for right now, what I will say is any information that you can provide about your local community would be considered value. Where are the best dog parks? If someone's moving to your area, ask yourself the question, what would you want to know if I were moving here? What would I need to know to move here? And have a successful transition. Everyone relocating needs a new doctor. They need a new dentist. Some of them need new attorneys and financial advisors. Some people need daycares. Some people need to know where the closest parks are. Those are the things that you talk about and you post about behind your brand that provide value. Here's the next thing. Speak clearly about what your goals are. Some people are scared to say, oh, it's almost the end of the first quarter and I'm really behind. I need some help. Who do you know that's wanting to buy or sell real estate? Human beings by nature want to help each other. So sometimes when you talk about your goals on Facebook, people are going to help you with that. Always be positive, upbeat, and like I said a minute ago, stay away from the drama. It's really not worth it in terms of getting a return on social media with real estate. It's not worth it. Might feel good in a moment, but it's not worth it. In the program, we're also going to go over how specifically to place social media ads, where to place them, and kind of a new age digital twist on open houses and a little bit of door knocking. In this, we will also touch a little bit on command and how to specifically look at social media through command. Now, there are plenty of free resources that are going to teach you the ins and outs of command. That's not what this is for. I basically want to show you how that as a tool can help you do your social media program a little bit easier, okay? We're going to talk a little bit today about a lead ad versus a boosted post. This is the most common question I get. I'm boosting my post and no one is talking to me. The way that I sold all this real estate on Facebook was not through a business page. There are a few things I want to talk about for a second before we go into boosted posts and lead ads. Number one, business pages, or like pages as people call them, are not designed for engagement. So some of you are posting listings on your business page and you're wondering, why am I not getting anybody to talk to me? Well, that's like posting your stuff on a park bench and expecting everyone who sits on the bench to give you a call while they're waiting on the bus. The park bench is not designed to have someone pick up the phone. It's designed to have people see you and be told about you and be reminded of you. It's not meant to have a conversation with someone. So one of the things that I will throw out there that we go a lot into in the Fullblown program is a lot about Facebook groups. Facebook groups are where you're going to sell the real estate. It's where you're going to build a relationship. If you're not a member of or you haven't started any Facebook groups, you should. What happened? I moved to a new area and saw a need for people to have a Facebook group to talk about housing locally. There was not one. So I started one, and now there's over 6,500, I believe, people in that group that are talking about real estate locally. And to give you an idea, my population here is about 200,000. So I do not live in a major metro area. 6,000 is a very large number proportionate to the overall population here. And the key to that is I don't allow other realtors, mortgage brokers, I don't allow other people in that group. As long as I know that they are one of those things, they are denied. That is not a group for people to sell real estate. That's a group for me to provide value to the public and talk about things like what's going on with the economy. To talk about things like how does that affect their investment? How does that affect their closing time? I've had 3 people today text me, are we going to close on time? This is the area that I would do that. Now, because of doing that and going into that group and saying, you know what, I'm going to create a group where you guys are safe from the sharks. I'm not going to let anybody else in, and I'm not even going to sell to you. I'm here just to help. Whether you use me or not is not relevant. That approach earned me 50 sales my first year in the new market in real estate. Now, some people say, well, are you a one-hit wonder? No, I am not. We still do over 100 deals a year. And I would, if I had the numbers, I would bet you a lot of money that it's at least 80% of that comes from a relationship started online. The rest of it are agent-to-agent referrals that we have started relationships on Facebook with. So this is something that we still use in practice. Really quickly, a lead ad versus a boosted post. The goal of a boosted ad is to increase visibility for your brand, not necessarily to capture business. Lead ads are a more customized way of marketing. This is, however, something that requires money. And you can also do this part from command. So it's all really cool way to get your name out there, but also a really cool way to get events promoted, get views on a video that you do, create awareness, and you can offer something. So through boosting or paying for a lead ad, you can offer something like a free CMA or whatever else. So go ahead and pop your questions in here. We have a couple more minutes before we get to the end and we talk about what you learned and what the next step is if you want to go full-blown in this over the next 8 weeks. The last thing I want to leave you with, best and worst times to post on social media. What I will tell you is in your local community, this might be a tad bit different. Here's the reason I say this. Wednesdays between 1 and 4 p.m. get the highest click-through ratings. Now, in my community, which is a military community, on weekdays between 1 and 4 p.m., people have just come back from their lunch break. Normally they're from 11 to 1. They've just come back from their lunch break and they're wrapping up their days. So for us to post between 1 and 4 p.m. here, because of the job that is in my marketplace, that's not our best and worst time. This is the nationwide number. So have some emotional intelligence, kind of figure out how you feel this out for your own self. But for us, this is not the case on that particular topic. The others are accurate. So think about it for yourself. But nationwide, weekdays between 1 and 4 get the highest click-through ratings. That does not mean that they engage with you. That just means that they click it. Overall peak time throughout the week is Wednesday at 3. Overall peak time for people to be engaging in social media is 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. The worst time, which does hold true for us, is weekends before 8 a.m. and after 8 p.m. I wonder why. Because people are sleeping in and then they're out doing other things. All right, so we're going to talk for a second about the actual full-blown program just for literally 2 minutes, and then I'll answer whatever questions you have. The full-blown program is called 50 Facebook Sales in 50 Weeks. You can access that if you Google 50 Facebook Sales in 50 Weeks MAPS Coaching, M-A-P-S. It will come up. It will allow you to register. But the actual title to the program is 50 Facebook Sales in 50 Weeks. It is an 8-week-long program, and I am your coach through this. You're going to go through and learn some of the tools and the skill sets to build your social media brand. We're going to talk about how to actually tactically build this from foundation all the way to the top floor. And then we're going to talk about some things that you can do outside of it to supplement what you've learned throughout the program. We'll talk about a really vast array of topics. And the other thing is that there is a Facebook group designed for the people who have gone through this program. You stay in the group forever. Just because the program is over doesn't mean anything. It is a mastermind group for us to talk about different approaches for until the end of time, basically. So if you have questions after the program ends, or before it begins, if you're in that Facebook group because you've registered for the program, the people in there and myself will help you through that. And if you have questions or if you need some inspiration, it's a really cool place to go as well. The program, like I said, is 8 weeks. It is a webinar, just like this. Do the same program, go to webinar. It is a webinar that is recorded. So if you miss a session for any reason, you can go back and watch it. And all of the recordings are available for 2 months after the last class ends. So this is an 8-week session, 1 session each week for 8 weeks. All the way through till the end, you have the recordings until the last class ends, plus 2 months from then. In addition, every single week we have an hour, a 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much time is needed, 30 minute to an hour long webinar to talk a live webinar on Facebook or on Zoom to talk about how you're utilizing the trainings that were taught that week. There are about 3 or 4 other opportunities throughout the program where we will have interviews with people who are actually doing this, that aren't coaches. They're not me. They're not best friends of mine. They're just people I'm watching from afar do really big things on social media in their business. And I've chosen them for specific reasons that correlate to the class that we're in at that moment. And we do a free 30-minute live interview with them as well. All right. The next class launches on March 24th. Yes, that is a week from tomorrow. It is 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just for all of you who are wondering what time zone that is or what time zone you're in, right now It is approximately 2:10 Eastern time. So you can count back how long that is. It's 8 weeks long. The class in full is $198. Now, like I put on the Facebook or on this program details slide, if you only sold one house from something that you learned in this program, in most every single market, that's 10 times your investment that you would earn from just selling one house with something that you learned from here. All right. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go through and answer some of these, and then we will go. Like everyone is saying right now, I hope you guys all caught Gary Keller's webinar earlier today. Stay safe, stay smart, start looking at how you can make some adjustments in your business. So I've been using Command, but the links are often bad. Are others finding this? How can I ensure links will work? Barbara, can you either write in here, or if I don't get to it, can you email or send me a message on Facebook? What do you mean by the links are bad? Can you repeat silver and gray again? Yeah, so Cynthia, silver and gray are colors that create balance and timelessness. So if you have silver or gray, like Apple does in your branding, the subconscious message that people are learning from the color choice is timelessness and balance. Oh yeah. May I get the slideshow? You will have the recording sent to you, so the recording of all of this will be sent to you. Let me see. Do you have a target market? I work with everyone. I want to help everyone regardless of the price point. Lois, your target market doesn't have to be anything to do with the price point. Like for myself, I live in a community that at least 30% of the residents here are currently active duty military. My target market is active duty military families. Now, it doesn't mean that the other 70% of the people here I won't work with. That just means that a lot of our branding and our messages are geared towards them. All right, is it better to post through Command or regular Facebook ads? I'm glad you asked this. So when we post through Command specifically, Facebook has been negotiated with KW for the price. This is hard to explain without actually being able to show you. So when you post through Facebook, what you are doing is you are bidding with Facebook on the price of an ad based on just you. On average, a lead on your own Facebook market, your own Facebook ads market might be $5, $6. When you do it through Command, Facebook is looking at all of our ads like they are one with Command, meaning that the price is driven down. So if you figure out how to get Facebook ads through Command to work, the average lead right now that we're tracking is somewhere between $1 and $1.50 compared to the $5 or so that you might spend on your own. So it's definitely financially better to do it through Command. Will this be taught again? We do this promotional webinar right before every launch. So the next time we will do the free webinar will be June, I believe. And then there's a full class that launches every 3 months. So yes, this will be done 2 more times this year. Is this course applicable to the UK? This is just a branding course. So if in the UK you guys are allowed to create a brand and talk to people about who you are and your values, which you are, this is just a human mechanism, right? Then you can definitely get something out of this. Is there a coupon code? Yes, Kristen, if you are a mastery client, meaning that you have a mastery coach, there is a coupon code, but I need you to get with your coach to get that because obviously people who are not mastery clients cannot have it, so I can't talk about it on here, but you can reach out to your mastery coach and they can get that for you. Does the class contain ad copies or examples of what things we should post? There are a couple of the sessions where I do give examples of ad copy that would work. By no means is this a template for you to copy and paste. This is just inspiration. So I hope that answers your question. How long is each class? It is 1 hour. So the way it works is usually 45 to 50 minutes of content and then 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A like what's going on right now. Can you provide a list of questions you screen new users with for your page? Yes. So for me, on the one group that I have that has all those people in it, it's fairly simple. It is, do you currently live in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area? Yes or no. Most people say no, we're moving here or whatever. And then the next question is your purpose for this page to buy or sell a home? You'd be surprised the amount of people who actually put their real intentions on that answer, and then I can reach out to them. The other one is, do you understand that you cannot place ads for things that should go on a yard sale site? The answer is yes or no, because I don't let them sell anything on there. How does one find a niche in a target market? Like I said, we go into a lot of detail on that in the program. I would tell you, reach out to me, Trisha, if that's how you pronounce your name, separately, and I can get into a little more with it than I can on the remainder of time we have here. However, you would really just want to get to know yourself enough to know who you enjoy working with and who your community is made up of. And from that, you can kind of trial and error what it is that you think would be best for you as a business owner. And I can walk you through some of that too, if you want to send me a message. What is the website to sign up again? Sue, if you go to Google or if you go to Maps Coaching, there's a link for group, G-R-O-U-P. So there's a group coaching link on Maps Coaching's website. If you click on that, you'll be able to find the program from the prompts right there. But if you just find Maps Group Coaching website, it's on there. The sign up page is inside of that. All right, let's see. There's a few more on here I'm not going to be able to get to because of time's sake, but if you still have questions and I didn't answer yours, please send me a Facebook message and I will absolutely get it answered. So Monica asked, did I sell 50 listings? How did you find buyers? You guys, that was 50 buyers. It was actually 48 buyers and 2 listings. You got to remember, I was totally new. I didn't know a soul. So most of the easiest thing when people get started is to find buyers. So that page was 50 buyers in actually about somewhere right around 9 months. But I got burned out, needed an admin. I can tell you the whole story another day. Decided I wanted to sit home and paint my brand new house, which was a stupid mistake. And then I came back at the end of the year and sold a few more, which rounded it out to 50. But no, that was 48 buyers with no assistant, no admin, brand new, no help, and 2 listings. So that was the opposite of what you just asked. How long is each class? Like I just said, an hour, which I think you posted that before I asked. Instagram seems to have a stronger presence, or at least a growing one. Is there anything that will focus on this? So Eric, the program specifically here is geared towards Facebook. Now we do lean in to talk about Instagram and how some of these things are similar and parallel, but this is not at all a program designed to specifically work through Instagram. It has a little bit of bleed over, but the stronger thing here is organic content creation, organic branding, a little bit about placing ads, but by no means is it where you couldn't get something to apply to Instagram. This isn't specifically about Facebook as a company. It's about how to market yourself on social media. So you could use it for both, but I'm not going to talk through in the program a lot of details on Instagram. Oh, you're welcome. Someone said thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So yeah, Kristen, if you can message me on Facebook real quick, or let me write down your name, or text me. If you have my phone number, I can send that to you. So I'll write your name down, Kristen Comstock. Cool. All right. If anybody has any more questions, send me a message. How can I register a team member for doing this? You register a team member the same way you register yourself, Cynthia, which would be going through the prompts from earlier. My contact info, if you guys want my phone number, is 615 area code 584-0377. I do have a family emergency to deal with in a couple of days, so if you could get me your questions in the next 24 hours, that would be easiest for me. I would prefer no one call because I have a pretty tight schedule, as you can imagine. And if you text me, and my commitment to you is to get all of that to you. So let me know if you have questions, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. If you need something, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.